Greetings, adventurer, and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Library. My name is Aurelius, your lore master, and today we are reading and discussing Galerion the Mystic. The book Galerion the Mystic appears in 5 of the Elder Scrolls games: Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, and Elder Scrolls Online. The book is a brief biography of a poor boy who was born as a serf on the Somerset Isles, lost his father at the age of 8, and would go on to become the first Archmagister of the Mages Guild. Let's get into Galerion the Mystic. Galerion the Mystic by Asgrim Kolsgreg. During the early bloody years of the Second Era, Vanus Galerion was born under the name Trectus, a serf on the estate of a minor nobleman, Lord Gurnas of Solosich-on-Kur. Trectus's father and mother were common laborers, but his father had secretly, against the law of Lord Gurnas, taught himself and then Trectus to read. Lord Gurnas had been advised that literate serfs were an abomination of nature and dangerous to themselves and their lords, and had closed all bookstalls within Solosich-on-Kur. All booksellers, poets, and teachers were forbidden except within Gurnas's keep. Nevertheless, a small-scale smuggling operation kept a number of books and scrolls in circulation, right under Gurnas's shadow. When Trectus was 8, the smugglers were found and imprisoned. Some said that Trectus's mother, an ignorant and religious woman fearful of her husband, was the betrayer of the smugglers, but there were other rumors as well. The trial of the smugglers was non-existent, and the punishment swift. The body of Trectus's father was kept hanging for weeks during the hottest summer Solosich-on-Kur had seen in centuries. 3 months later, Trectus ran away from Lord Gurnas's estate. He made it as far as Alinorn, halfway across Somerset Isle. A band of troubadours found him nearly dead, curled up in a ditch by the side of the road. They nursed him to health and employed him as an errand boy in return for food and shelter. One of the troubadours, a soothsayer named Heliand, began testing Trectus's mind and found the boy, though shy, to be preternaturally intelligent and sophisticated given his circumstances. Heliand recognized in the boy a commonality, for Heliand had been trained on the Isle of Artaeum as a mystic. When the troupe was performing in the village of Botansa on the far eastern end of Somerset, Heliand took Trectus, then a boy of 11, to the Isle of Artaeum. The magister of the isle, Arachesis, recognized potential in Trectus and took him on as pupil, giving him the name Vanus Galerion. Vanus trained his mind on the Isle of Artaeum as well as his body. Thus was the first Archmagister of the Mages Guild trained. From the Psijics of the Isle of Artaeum he received his training. From his childhood of want and injustice he received his philosophy of sharing knowledge. Kind of a wild story. It's pretty straightforward and short, but there are a few things worth pointing out and discussing. The first thing, and I don't know why this keeps being a thing, but Galerion's name is spelled differently throughout the book. At the very beginning, it spells it Galerion, but near the end of the book, it spells it Galarion. The first spelling is the correct one, but it's just interesting that it spells it 2 different ways. The book doesn't specify if Galerion was man or mer, but I think we can infer that he was an elf given that he was from the Somerset Isles. The book kind of buries the lead a little bit with some of the stuff that it mentions. The Isle of Artaeum is mentioned a number of times, but if you don't know what that is, it doesn't mean a whole lot. The Isle of Artaeum is part of the Somerset Isles, and is also where the Psijic Order is headquartered. The Psijic Order is the oldest monastic group in all of Tamriel. The leaders of the order, the Council of Artaeum, have been some of the most powerful mages ever to have lived. In fact, Arachesis, the one identified in the book as the Magister of the Isle of Artaeum, was extremely powerful, and may have been one of the original founders. Galerion was born in the early years of the Second Era. The First Era lasted 2,920 years. The first record of the Psijic Order in written history was in the 20th year of the First Era. Arachesis was already the right master of the Psijics back then. From all the dates referencing him, IHSS lived to be at least 3,600 years old. That is the guy that trained Vanus Galerion. While at Artaeum, Galerion would be trained alongside another figure who would play a role in the history of Tamriel, Mannimarco. Galerion and Mannimarco would become friends during their time at Artaeum. Mannimarco and his love of necromancy would eventually drive the two apart, leading to both of them leaving the Psijic Order. Mannimarco founded the Order of the Black Worm, eventually achieving apotheosis and becoming the God of Worms. Vanus Galerion would go on to found the Mages Guild, opening their first chapter in Firsthold. Up to this point, to be trained in magic was something that was only for the aristocracy and higher society. Galerion didn't want anyone to have to grow up as he had, where simply knowing how to read as a serf was punished by death. His goal was to make magic and knowledge available to anyone and everyone, and not have it be limited by your social status or rank. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what you think about this book in the comments below. And may the blessings of the 8 Divines be upon you.